Hi, everybody. This is part of the She Writes Press FAQ series. I'm Brooke Warner, publisher of She Writes Press. And this video is about returns and understanding returns, which is probably the thing that authors hate most of all when they learn how the book publishing industry works. Nobody likes returns. They are something we have to contend with, unfortunately. And basically, what returns are is when returns come back from retailers. They're unsold books. We're not so much talking about books that consumers return, but rather books that retailers return. So retailers may order, for instance, 100 copies of your book and then only sell 50, and then they are allowed to, and they do, return the other 50 copies to the distributor, to the publisher. So what that means is that we, the publisher, have to refund them for those orders, and it means that we take a hit against our earnings. And that, of course, translates back to the authors. That's why I say nobody likes them. Nobody likes to see a negative number on their royalty report. And publishers, of course, have to maneuver around this and be thinking about the fact that returns are inevitable. The only silver lining in this conversation is that returns are not usually as bad as authors sometimes think. The average returns number is usually around 20%. There are rare cases where returns are horrendous, and that usually happens when you take a big risk, like sending a lot of copies to a particular special order. So, for instance, an order to Costco or Target or something like that, which is one of the reasons that we're a little reluctant to do those orders. But sometimes we get massive non-returnable sales, and those are the very best in the industry when you get a big order and it's non-returnable. Library sales are non-returnable. So there are some sales in this industry that are non-returnable, but understanding that returns happen is also part of understanding what it means to be an author. The good news is that when books get returned from retail, they do go back to the warehouse. And then as long as they're in good condition, they will go back into inventory to be resold. So that's the scoop on returns, everybody. Not the most fun conversation, but knowing what you're in for is helpful. And maybe one of these days, the book industry will change its tune and stop doing returns. But for now, this is what we've got.